Welcome to Mayfield Heights Church. Today I got a couple questions for you. Start out, maybe we could take a look at this right now. See if you can answer this common American phrase that says, if it sounds too good to be true, it is. Very good, very good. You're batting 1,000. Okay, here's the second one. We make money the old-fashioned way. We earn it. That's right. There's no such thing as a free lunch. Okay, you're batting about 750. There is no gain without. That's right, you're all there. God helps those who. You guys are rocking now. Okay, why do I bring these things up? Why? Because everything about the American way of life teaches us that the way that you get anything is you earn it in life. That is the way we think. And that's good. Everyone knows the saying, you get what you pay for. We Americans, we value work. We value some sweat. We value some effort. And all that is part of what we call the American work ethic. And that's good. The Bible teaches those who don't work, you know what? They shouldn't eat. It's not a free lunch. So the Bible teaches this. But this kind of thought's okay, and it's good, right? It's healthy to work. But you know what the problem comes in is when we take what we've learned as far as our work ethic and we carry that with us and ask, how do we relate with God? That's where difficulty comes in. Because why? Because I'll tell you, God doesn't relate to us on the basis of performance. God doesn't relate to us on the basis of our effort. God doesn't relate to us on the basis of our work. God doesn't relate to us on our ethic, how hard we try. The Bible tells us over and over again, the way God relates to us is by grace. By grace. That's the way God relates to us. That means everything that we have in our relationship with God, we didn't earn it. We didn't work for it. We didn't put out effort for it. We can't gain enough brownie points with God to be related to Him. Why? Because God's perfect. You could never be good enough. God is God, we are we. It's all by grace. God's grace is just His free gift to you, to mankind. That is who God is. And that's how He relates to us, is all by grace. Can we take a look at 1 Corinthians 15:9 together, please? Can we read it? For I am the least of the apostles, who am not worthy to be called an apostle, because I persecuted the church of God. But by the grace of God, I am what I am, and His grace toward me is not vain. But I labored more abundantly than they all. Yet not I, but the grace of God which is with me. I really appreciated these verses this week. I've seen something, these are very familiar verses, but at the same time, I've seen something particularly new this time through that I never seen so clearly as I seen this time. The Apostle Paul says, he's a great apostle. He says in verse 9, I'm the least of the apostles. That means he's the smallest of the small. And then he doesn't stop there. He says, I'm not worthy to be called an apostle. It almost seems as he continues to talk, he's just digging himself a bigger grave. So, I don't boast at all of my past. I don't look at myself on what I've accomplished in my past, but what I really like is that next phrase. He says, but by the grace of God, I am what I am. Do you like that verse? By the grace of God, I am what I am. For all of us who believe in Jesus Christ, this should be our declaration. You know, our past could be full of mistakes. It is, believe me. Whether you realize it or not, your life is full of mistakes. Wrongdoings, poor performances, failures. But by the grace of God, I am what I am. Actually, we should all declare that. By the grace of God, I am what I am. How about we try? But by the grace of God, I am what I am. You know, we should all be that bold. Every one of us. What is our standing today? By His grace. I am what I am. And the apostle was clear. We should also be clear. How about we try that? Kelly, can you stand up, turn around, declare to all these people, no matter how wrong I've been, how many failures I've been, how many weaknesses I've had, by the grace of God, I am what I am. How about it?
By the grace of God, I am what I am.
Amen. Yeah, we should be that bold. We should be that bold. That is a joyful thing. I'd like to tell you all today, relax. You know, our world tries to pressure us, got all kinds of things pressing down on you. You know, you're trying to do this, you're trying to do that, you're trying to carry out this, you're doing all these things. You know, it's quick. If you have any real way of looking at yourself, you go, wow, gee, I'm short. I can't make it. How come the world keeps telling me I need to do all these things and I can't keep up the pace? You know what? The standing of all of us should be, but I am what I am by the grace of God. That takes all the pressure off. You think you should be some kind of position today that you're not? By His grace, you're where you're at. You're just right. You think you should have a little bit more? You think you shouldn't have failed a little bit less? By His grace. You are what you are. It's all by His grace. We should not be so serious about ourselves. We should be more serious about God and about His Word, and not so serious about ourselves. But by the grace of God, I am what I am. This is God's declaration. This needs to be our declaration. And then as the apostle continues the same verse, he says, His grace towards me was not in vain. I like that. It almost seems again like he's going to boast. But God's grace in me was not in vain. Why was it in vain? Because all that grace God gave Paul did not turn out to be in vain. In other words, Paul continues, I labored more abundantly than all of them. You know, he's talking about all the other apostles. They labored, right? You know, we all heard of Peter. We all heard of Matthew. We all heard of Philip. Most of them are writers in the New Testament. But Paul says, you know what? I'm the least of all these apostles. I'm not even worthy because I persecuted the church of God. But you know what? God's grace to me was not in vain. Actually, I labored more abundantly than all of them. Doesn't that sound like a boast? Doesn't that sound like a boast, Paul? I labored more than all of you. But then he cuts in with the phrase, not I, but the grace of God that was with me.